All right, here we go again. Buckle up. So, remember I was using the headphone amplifiers and stuff? Right. So, the inference is that my hearing was horrible and all that the whole time. Because even my therapist goes, well, she doesn't know what a headphone amplifier actually does. So she believed like headphones weren't loud enough for me or something. Right. But right now, I have my hearing aid in, I have headphones on, and this thing's barely loud enough. So, it's really just a mismatch in equipment that happens over time. That's what I thought it was. Right. Or they could have turned it down too. But well, you buy the equipment during a certain time period, and like with the phone and the computer and the microphones, and they're all a certain way, and over time the standards change a little bit, and then when you try to do the audio and listen in it, you monitor it, it sometimes turns down. Right? Now I got it turned all the way up. I got my hearing aids in it, same as it was before. My vision's actually really good, except for like this little floater now. Again, it's them. They're cursing me a certain way. As soon as I overcome something, something else starts up. God bless, it isn't the way it was a few days ago, about a week ago. Right. So, I mean, even though my vision is good, it's actually going to be better when I get that other prescription. I mean, corrected down to 2015. And I really can read without my glasses. That's most of the time I read without my glasses, probably because it's also an older prescription. I have a multifocal, but she probably didn't sense that I needed the reading side. But when you put, I should have said something to her. She may have been able to do it. I don't know. Right? When you put the distance lenses in, it'll screw up my near vision. Right? I like having great vision. Remember to heal the kids. Signs are that something's up. Right? You got to keep the kids healed. Thank you, Mary. So I don't know what's up with massage therapist, but she's like, she had the same opinion I did. It's not because the only thing, and she said it right. She said, the only thing I don't like is when the church tries to tell other people what to do. Right. I don't know if her, LGBTQ or whatever it is. And I told her, I said, look, the scripture is really the way it's written. If you don't think somebody needs to be trans, you have to apply all the scripture, and then we apply all the scripture. If you say you're not supposed to be trans, you're going to offend that person, right? And you're not supposed to do that, so you heal it. That's all there is. I mean, that's all there is anyway. Curse it and heal it. If I had more friends, I'd be more healed, and I wouldn't be so cursed. But again, they allowed criminal behavior. And it's funny because she says, a massage therapist says the same thing my therapist says. She says, you're just a natural human being. It's just natural reaction. Because I said, I stopped going to massage. Yeah, we tend not to go places where we've been harmed. And I pushed through, man. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Now there's no birds over here. It was interesting. It was a whole different type. Like one day it was mallard ducks, and next day it was Canadian geese. Next day it was like a heron or a crane. Really, if the spirit of killing wasn't on this planet, everybody'd be a vegetarian. It just would have happened. Every animal on this planet would have been a vegetarian. And it actually started drifting that way. And then everybody said, we got to save the carnivores. Like, like vegetarians are some of the weirdest people, like vegans, because they'll do like save the bear, save the wolf, save the tiger, and they go, don't eat meat. It don't make no sense. That's really what this planet is like everywhere, even the Trump administration, same way. Well, you're all doing a lot of operations out there, not just the Trump administration, but you can't get there from here, right? Kind of thing. If you went a different route, you can get there. I got all my heavy equipment on right now. Probably not going to walk that far. Well, if I could get this to really, the problem is if I do physical therapy without getting all this stuff released, it's just going to tighten up worse. Right? Because I know what they're going to tell me to do. Right? But I can't sit in the apartment all day. I got to get outside and do some stuff, do some walking. And I wish I never stopped riding my bike, but it's what I miss the most. That's part of what they focused on, man. Part of what they focused on stopping. They're sickos, man. I mean, no good deed goes unpunished. I mean, in Naples, I gave a bike to a guy who didn't even have a car to drive to work. Right. And they said the cop stopped him and said, "Where'd you get that bike?" Yeah, my old bike. I fixed it up for him. I think I bought a couple tires and some inner tubes, slimed it or something. I don't remember if I was into slime back then, but I know I fixed it up for him. It's a giant rain, I think. Oh no, wait, I can't remember. What giant rain? Rain's the big one, right? Just a single suspension, front forks. I'm gonna try to at least walk up that hill. It's good exercise. I was definitely in way better shape last summer, but I was still cramped up. If I could have got a massage last summer, this wouldn't have happened. Right. Now, obviously, none of these people are supposed to be in my life. Quote unquote abusive process. So it is what it is. It isn't what it isn't, right? Now they're programming people for mental illness is what they're doing. They're using intense psychological torture. Now I ordered a pair of glasses from Amazon, sunglasses that are similar to what I have, but a little bit different. They have foam on them, so that should block some of the allergen. and she showed me what she called a guanji. I guess it's for massaging your cranial tissues. It's easy for a bunch of different things. Part of it. Well, it's a little bit warm. I couldn't even get back to this inflammation stuff. Again, it's hard to explain when they do this, but I'm also possessed. They're also possessing my mind, so I can't get to it. All the thoughts are skewed. But it's not like me. My brain wouldn't come up with that. It has to be an external uh, evil that's doing it. Test, 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 making sure the volume's still up. I mean, again, you made your choices. All of you chose to go to hell. I mean, that's all I can say. Tried to explain it to you for all those years. I have no idea how they think they're going to get to heaven doing that. No, you could be possessed, but again, the problem is you're possessing people, all of you. So the out for not possessing people doesn't exist. I mean, it's obvious. You will something, the person does it. I mean, come on. Right. It's actually nicer out here for some reason. I'm more comfortable outside, but I got that stupid floater that shows up every so often. Like the people stalking me. I'm trying to shake a tail. No, I'm not doing that. You're not a tail. You're a crook. No matter where you work. Right. You haven't figured out that I'm not a threat after 20 years, and you're lying on 30 years. Right. And you're using psychological warfare and psychological torture to alter people's sexuality and everything else. This person will be rich. That person will be poor. That person will die. That person will live. They're sitting there as if they're God. The planet has been taken over by Satan. Again, the scripture is not going to have the Bible. I'm not adding to the Bible. I'm explaining the Bible, and I'm giving you real-time information from God. Jesus said, "Greater works shall you do." That doesn't mean that the Bible, everything ends when the Bible's written, right? Well, God chose me. Okay, that's just how it works, huh? You have a problem with that? I'm sure you do. You think you should choose somebody like Stephen Miller or Joe Biden? Thanks, Larry. Now, apparently, there's another ceremony I got to go through on Sunday. I prefer that they do it in the classroom because I'm just not well. I tell you, let me go up in front of everybody, and there's a circle of men. They're going to lay their hands on me, which I understand all that, but it doesn't have to be in front of the whole church, right? Again, we're supposed to be doing things the opposite of that, right? In secrecy. 100%. Again, the LDS Church is probably doing better than most, if not all. Okay, Netanyahu gets it up if he actually does it. Apparently, he has an operation plan to move people and keep them safe. Thanks, Larry. Now, he says he's moving to the south, but he says it's to occupy the Gaza. Well, the south is the Gaza, too. Did you clear that already? Is that what it is? Is that pre-cleared? How you doing? Well, they needed. I agree with the zone, the southern zone, to remain like Israel. Okay, I don't know if we call it Israel. What do you call that? The Jewish territories or the Israeli territories versus Palestinian territories. So the Israeli territories go, the right side of the map is generally, I guess not. I guess it's mixed, right? But on the southern section, the right side of the map is Israeli territory. The left side is Palestinian. That right side at the bottom, and I don't know how many miles you're going to do it, there needs to be a security zone. So essentially the Israeli territory will look like a backwards L kind of. Right. Thanks. Thanks. Again, there's some at the top, right? There'll be additional security zones. Right. But it's just the idea is, again, it's the idea of keeping the Palestinians safe also. Right? So anything that's being imported is going to go through a screening zone. But you have to be fair. You have to be well with people. You can't harass Palestinians when they come through your checkpoints. Right. Well, if you have to, schmooze, just schmooze a little bit and, see if you can get, what do you call it, de-escalation. Make sure they know de-escalation. But it just needs to be. I mean, obviously, theoretically, that's where the rockets were coming in and all that stuff through those territories. Now, there's also tunnels and things like that. I'm not a person who ever lets a tunnel last. I mean, I don't know why. It almost seems like a setup to let the tunnels be there. Right. Legally, sir. Thank you, Larry. Well, you need security zones and, but when you operate them, you got to operate them the right way. Right. So here's a psychology, and I don't know who's in here with me. It could be God, it could be Mother Mary or Jesus, because I'm looking at a statue right now. I think it's Jesus. Looking at the back of it. Oh, of course, Jesus says, of course I learned everything. Everything I learned about security, I learned from Larry. That's not Jesus. Who is that? Red Riding Hood? What is that? Is that Mary? Oh, I see. I think it is Jesus. He's got a hood on. Jesus the hood. Oh, Jesus hanging out in a hood. Who is this? Is that Jesus? I can't tell. I think it is. And that's like a priest or something. So the reality is, so what you do is, like when you hand out food, it's simple, Hand out food, hand out meals. Be the ones that hand out the meals, and Hamas ain't going to take it from you, right? You ride in there with, instead of Hamas on the food trucks, the aid trucks, IDF ride in there and actually hand out the food. That way you won't shoot the people because you shoot the IDF if you shoot the people. Right. Thank you, Larry. make sure it works. Pre-plan it. God bless Larry. God bless. Again, my problem is that my left side won't tighten up. It's just too loose. Right. I mean, I can get it to do it, but it's tricky. And I think it's the right side. It's too tight. It's causing the left to fail. So I told the lady today, I said, you got to do a full body massage so you can figure out my body because you know what you're talking about. So you can see what's going on. Right. Like I'm telling anybody gets steroid treatment, always go to massage unless, there's a reason that you can't. Right. I'm not a doctor. Right. 100%. Well, because what that does temporarily could be made permanent with massage. Right. So if it elongates your muscles and all that and softens them and it stays that way, and that's great. Again, they killed me in Santa Fe. I totally got released. It was best shape I've been in years. Right. And they killed me out of that stuff. Just so you know, I'm disabled. I'm walking because I have to, or I die. Or take like 50 milligrams of the biggest blood pressure medicine alive. Right. Whew. Whew. I just wish I was healthy. I love walking. I love riding bicycle. And they knew it. So their curses and their physical operations did that. All of it, actually. Right. I think it's as far as I'm going to go today. Whew. Again, I stopped drinking coffee again, even though the LDS said I could if I needed it medicinally. We had a guy like that. He walked, and Hare Krishnas don't drink coffee either. He walked in to the Hare Krishna temple with a thermos of coffee. And they told him, no. 100%. They said, we don't care that you drink coffee outside the temple. Don't bring it in the temple. Right. Because he had a lot of health issues. I forget what his name was. But I tried to be nice to him and take care of him whenever I could. Right. And now I'm the disabled guy because they did me. If he didn't do me, I'd have been fine. I'd still be like in Santa Fe getting massages. Right. H3. And that's why they did it, because they knew that. Or I'd have been in Albuquerque long ago. Albuquerque was warmer, so I wasn't so much interested in going there. But now I was already deteriorated. That's why I left Santa Fe. I couldn't get massages because they kept harassing me in them. And I said, I got to get somewhere I can get massage. I may have been able to find somebody, but again, they beat me up. Probably drugged me. Well, because my body's loose now, like I think right now my left side's loose. I bet you if I go home, I'll find a band of real tight muscle, and as soon as I release it, then that left side picks up. Right. Like before, I could feel all the tightness. Now I can't, but there's like bands of muscle that are still tight. What that's doing is killing that neurological impulse going down to the left leg. See, that's what came up on the MRI, but it was because everything was all tight. As soon as I released everything, right, then everything came back to normal, to square. Right. At this point, it was the worst thing I could ever do was to go to Santa Fe. To tell you the truth, I mean, I enjoyed it. It healed me, but then it kind of like killed it. So, right. And I'll tell you the truth. When I was in Arizona, how you doing? When I was in Arizona, I didn't feel 100% in Maricopa County. It just didn't feel 100%, and I kind of left, still feeling a little bit off. And I got to New Mexico, and I stayed in Motel 6 for a little while because I was trying to go to Indianapolis, rent a van, go to Indianapolis, and bring my stuff back. Right. I'd been there for like 4 years or some shit. 3 years, something. I was in a storage unit. When I got to Indianapolis, all of a sudden I started picking up. I was feeling really good. It was cooler there, you know. It was like early, I guess it was early, you know, mid fall or something like that, early fall. I was like, yeah, this is going to work. I guess I'll stay here. And then like a dummy, I stayed at that lady's place. She sold out. The Dallas Enterprise woman. It wasn't anything but her selling out. Come on. Right. And this guy was like, I got this house. It's just south of the city. I mean, I didn't know him. Right. He seemed like a nice guy. He's an investor. And he said, why don't you know, let me rent you a room. You know, you can stay at my house, a nice house. You know, at that point, I couldn't trust him. I wake up and there's people trying to kill me, you know. Right. You never hear me again. We don't know anymore, man. I know my headphones are set right because I hear birds and everything. Whew. Or hearing aids. Yeah, I should have been on my bicycle the whole time getting massages, like the rest of the world. But I mean, this idea where I'm some sort of criminal where you have to do it's bullshit. Criminals living great lives, man. Multimillionaires and million dollar houses, like right here. Some of these people are criminals. Right. Right. Well, yeah, dude, let me be, man. I don't know what's wrong with all of you. You all see the signs. Just let me be, and I forget about you and go on with my life. I guess now I don't know. We'll see. Mm. They played their game out. A bunch of sickos. Because they alter people and they couldn't alter me. It made them so mad. Couldn't get me to date black guys and shit. Right. Oh my God. Maybe they put whammies and all sorts of shit on you. They're sick. So again, you know, people don't have to worry, I guess, but you know, where they give you that cup of water after the massage thing, that's the most dangerous thing in the world. Right. Especially if you've ever been in law enforcement or got, you know, kind of big government or something. Right. I still don't drink their water, but I'll tell you what, I was sitting in a massage thing and this voice said, when she walked out, she goes, she's going to get you a small bottle of water. She's not going to hand you some stupid cup full of water like you're supposed to drink it. I had somebody try to force me to drink it. Come on, drink it. Well, if I drink it and get all high, they're going to give you $1,000,000. I mean, what is it? 100%. I couldn't go back. I couldn't break through it. Tried to force me to drink the water. I was like, nah, it's okay. I got a bottle. And she kept bugging me. And then after that, I couldn't get back. They may have willed me away because maybe that's what the whole goal was. Right. Thanks, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Yeah, I can feel it now. It's tightening up some more. It's that left side. It's too tight and it kills something. And then my left leg gets weak. There's probably a surgery I needed for it, and it wasn't probably a lower lumbar. Right. But he's gonna do a cervical epidural. See if that does something. I'm thinking thoracic, but can't get anybody to believe that one. We'll see. Yeah, right now it's pretty painful. There's no way to release it while I'm out on the road like this. I got like a hook thing that they got. This pain management guy showed it to me. I took it, hit hit that spot, and it usually releases. Sometimes I got to put some more stuff on it. I'd be nothing like this if they stayed away. Again, I probably wouldn't even have been in a gym again. I did like normal stuff, and I'd stay out of the public gym if I went to got in the church. I pretty much swore off those gyms at that point. But for them, they can't. It's hard to get me, when I'm not in a public place like that. Like to have you can make conversation with people, and not recording it, but they'll say, "Oh, he said this. Oh, he said that." Right. Now, my body's pretty well released. It's just certain spots are still real tight, and that screws up the whole thing. And the body does that sometimes when the nerves are feeling irritated. The question is whether you can relax them or not. Right? The muscle relaxers don't work because it relaxes everything, and I'm not equally tight. Right? But I never heard so many birds in my life. I don't know if it's the setting or what. I can actually tune them out if I want. Just hit a button like outside the outdoor button. For a little while when I left Santa Fe, I think I almost rejuvenated. And then they hit me with something. I don't know what it is. That first winter, I felt good, real good. I haven't felt that good in years. I remember sitting there in that room, looking out at reading a cup of coffee, looking at my Mini Cooper, thinking life is good, even though it's shitty. Right. So the thing is, all these fake things they say about me, there's men out there all day long doing it, and they don't do anything about it. And they living them wealthy lives and stuff, or even just like kind of a freeloader life, right? Like that one woman on disability, she get a room in a hotel, and then her daughter would get a job in the hotel if she could, or stay with mom. And then he comes in, he stays there on her disability dole, trying to say I do shit like that. I mean, they're weird, man. They're totally weird. Right. Meanwhile, I find some guy doing it. Nobody's doing anything. I mean, he's gotten thrown out of so many hotels, it ain't even funny. Right. I mean, he might be in a prison now. I don't know. But sure had a good run if he is. Right. I'm sure he had sex with that young girl. I'm sure. I would never think of it. Right? Unless we were married. And again, that's kind of weird. But so they like try to brainwash me. The first thing was trying to brainwash me into young girls. Mm, age is just a number. Age is just a number. Just like when I grew up, like you can date one grade down, maybe one grade up, but that's it. Thanks, Larry. My wife's actually a year older than me. Look at her birth certificate; it makes her look young. But it's one of those constructed birth certificates, right? And I was a parent. My life was at least my age or older, right? But meanwhile, there are guys that go to another country and marry a young girl, and they're living the life of Riley. But yet they try to say shit like that about me. They wouldn't let me talk to anytime I found somebody that was like, I was in my 40s, they were in their 30s, they'd mess it up. Right? The next thing you know, it's like 22-year-old or something. I don't know how much, maybe 20. Shows up, she got kids. Like I go online with her to talk to her, and I'm just making small talk and stuff. And next thing I know, she goes online. There's her mother, her father, her, and the kids. And I'm on TV or something, on television. She's starting the nuptials. But Philippines, that's the way it is. I mean, you either do that or you. I mean, if you look at them videos of Philippines, it's kind of messed up. Right. Thanks, Larry. I'm just talking to you. And the other one, she gets mad at me. She was like, no, it's probably like 45 or something. She was like 21 online, and she's getting mad at me like we're supposed to date. And like she's in the Philippines. I'm just saying like a buddy to her, like, hey, we both look somebody kind of thing. And then she's like, what about me? And I kept talking to her. And like she was going to advise me. She advised me, like I said, is this a woman or do you think this is something else? It's just like when I'm still in Naples and stuff. She goes, nah, it looks like it could be a lady voice. Stay away. And then she finally said, what about me? And I'm thinking, well, you're like 21, I'm like 45. Thanks, Larry. Or maybe a little younger. I don't even like 43. But like in Philippines, it's so screwed up because sexuality is pretty big. I mean, the church is pretty big, but so is sexuality, right? You never know. Like she had this dude that she hung out with. I'm like, why are you having sex with this guy when she's talking to me? Right? But they won't think anything of it. They're like, okay, that's what happens. And that's probably what but see, again, I don't know if it'd have been too dangerous. I can't tell you whether I'd have been safe going to the Philippines. I had a plan to purchase, like get married, and then we purchase property, right? Just like a small shack at first, not a shack, but like a little bungalow. Pay that off real quick, right? And then start renting that one, and then get another one. And then at a certain point, we buy a big house, and then live off the rents. See, that just shows you. In the United States, I could never do anything like that. A lot of people do it, but in the Philippines, I would have been able to do it. But again, if the CIA pays somebody enough money, they're gonna come kill me. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, you'll never catch him. It'll come up as like French intelligence because they had to go through 15, intelligence agencies. Sorry. You have to break like 15 spies before it gets back to who actually did it. Thank you, Larry. Thanks, Larry. And anyway, they're blocking a lot of people. Like if I start chatting with somebody, then they send somebody to start chatting. Next you know, it's a doctor from Milwaukee making $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year, 10 years younger than me. Actually, just a CIA agent or officer. Believe me, that's what they do. They're just sickos, man. And like, remember, we're living in a world where people are living with young people, not marrying them, having sex, getting them all drugged up. Right. If they know the sheriff, then nothing happens to them. Well, that's real. Right. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, they're cursing the Mormon stuff. So I'm struggling listening to the Book of Mormon. Right. Trying to make it all weird. It definitely got into the mind. Definitely up in anti power. No, my sinuses are actually better without the Mucinex. And I'm afraid the Mucinex may have caused something with the eye, too. Never know. They also say antihistamine can do some stuff, right? But again, it's all them. If they stayed out of my life, I wouldn't be fighting all these things. There was no reason for me to be that sick. Right? Attacking me everywhere I was, probably drugging me too. Something came up in the mind one time that these kind of heavy hitters, they wouldn't do it without drugging somebody. Right? Takes too long. Every cop knew it was corrupt. So they bring in a massage therapist in, and she'd say she's 19, and the inference is, your little sister's older than 19. Thank you, Larry. Which in itself could screw you up as figuring, like me. After a while, I couldn't figure out what age anyone was. Right? They're playing that game. You have to understand when they introduce a bait girl, they're introducing sexuality with the bait girl, and they're doing that through metaphysics. They're willing it up. They're putting spells on it. That's how sick it is. I came here, and all they're going to do is build the ark, and that's it. Just let me alone. Let me go to the stores and build the ark. Right. 100% Larry. What I would recommend is if you have a phone, make sure you can't get the one camera in the front, but the camera on the backside. Buy a phone that has a door for that. Actually, well, because you're revealing a lot of stuff, right? Because the way people generally hold their phone, right? So if somebody hacks in, and you're holding your phone up and looking at it, right? The front camera is pretty difficult, but they should build something, right, to limit that. I used to have a thing. I don't know if it was on mobile, but it was on Windows. It blocked your phone or blocked their cameras and the microphone. Now, again, if they hack it, or if they have enough money, they can pay the manufacturer to do stuff and have a back door. My baptism was actually supposed to be today. but they postponed it. They didn't schedule it early enough, really. But the missionaries are getting weird. Their attitude's changing. I don't know what it means. Right. I mean, they got new people. They're done with me. So they never told me I'd like have to stand in front of the church and have to lay on of hands, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to make it to church. Right. Yeah. They should do it the day of the baptism. Right. I don't even know how I'm going to feel on the day of the baptism. To tell you the truth. Right. Right, I'm not against their church, but getting a little weird. I can't believe I never even tried that inflammasome stuff all those years. Since the doctor told me to get off aspirin because my stomach was screwed up, but I really believe it was something else. Because H. pylori came up. Right. Can't believe it. I ordered Walmart Plus, and I told the dude to get these Walmart bagels, which are way better than Lenders. They're actually close to the other company. I can't remember. Thomas's, I guess. Some of the best bagels in the supermarket. Right. Like I was saying earlier, my wife and the divorce were going rather smooth after a rough separation. I believe that she had a boyfriend and things were kind of working for her, and right. And then all of a sudden everything went south. But it's when she started talking about Rick Henry. I said, Rick Henry, what's Rick Henry got to do with you? Right. The next thing you know, everything didn't work. They're not protected. They knew I didn't touch my children. They're crazy. Right. Not crazy. They're criminal, I guess. So she tries to bring it up, and I knew that's who put it in her head. And the lady at the divorce thing said, "You're going to make an allegation. You're going to make it in front of the people. You're not just going to say shit while we're trying to go through this." And she said, "Well, I heard it." And I'm felt like going, Rick Henry, right? Karen Shelton, right? I'm burn in hell for messing my family up. No, they're just like psychos. They like when you come into the office. If they don't like you, that's it. They try to kill you for decades. I mean, they're insane. Marsters don't care. They playing their game out all day, trying to figure out how to get that next $1,000,000. When they knew as soon as they knew the Mars service was sale, they gave them that sex crime investigation because then they buy them off, right? Pretty much it. I'm not joking. Thank you, Larry. Like how the Mars service landed in that, right? Well, they were for sale, so highest bidder let them in. Yeah, I wish it was. I tell you what. I wish it was honest. I wish it was honest. Right? 'Cause I'd have lived a normal life. And I'd be with what are they called? Was that woman from the FBI running? Missing exploited, right? I tried to come out of the shadows and be part of it, instead of just investigating on my own, and they killed me. Right. That's when I had all that trouble in Indianapolis. Right. again, I think the same thing happened in Naples. Now I think because I went back to Naples, and then I contacted Hunter. Remember, right? Former Sheriff Hunter, and I said, look, because his name came up as working with that kind of stuff. I think maybe he wasn't working with exploit. I can't remember. So I contact Hunter and I said, look, I have this idea, on how to save, protect children, right? And next thing I know, I get sick. I mean, he did we shared some stuff back and forth, but eventually did get sick. Oh my God. Right. Well, I was building a website, right? Kind of a neutral spiritual site, kind of love and all that stuff. And I was putting the links to missing and exploited children on there. Right. Yeah. Thanks, Larry. And the next thing I know, I could barely walk. Something similar happened in that other community in Indianapolis. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Larry. No, he spent the whole time trying to disable me further. There's some sick people. Well, if they were just forced to stay away after it was, everybody became aware of what they were actually doing, then I'd have been fine. Right. Again, they might have been fine. God may have said, okay, we're not going to do hell, That was the original plan, is to try to get rid of hell. Right. That's when you saw those people pick up with the idea that there's going to be no hell. I was the original thought because it wasn't anywhere until I said it. It took about a year and then started picking up. Well, what do you think God's going to do if you kill somebody like that? You're killing people. Yeah, they still live so many years, but you're killing people. It's murder. And if the person ends up killing their family and killing themselves, then it's murder suicide, and you're responsible for the whole thing. Thanks, Larry. I told you to stay away, all of you, and not do it to me. I told you for years. I agree, Larry. All right, let me see what I got here. Thank you, Larry. I mean, it isn't like a shock that I'm saying all this. Right. Told him for years, just stop. Told you it's not real, stop. What they do is they get these federal agents to make crimes. Then they blackmail them over. Like, either do what we say or you go down. Thank you, Larry. That's what they do. I mean, all I do is leave me be. Oh, no, nothing. I just would have walked off and said a bunch of assholes. Right? I mean, these people that do this, these cops, they go to the funeral sometimes of the person they kill, if it isn't like a well known one, right? Yeah, I do that. Actually, it's just disgusting what they've turned the world into. Again, so when you're in churches, you have to understand that this is the end time. So we're not dealing with all the same stuff. It's a whole different world. And that's where a lot of that forgiveness comes from. Because when the scriptures were written, there was less witchcraft, less spells, less things that we wrestle against. So the things we wrestle against, as you would suspect if you meditate on the Bible and what's happening in the end times and what Paul wrote in that epistle about the end times. Right? There are people that can't, and the people know that. Like, they keep my money down because they know I have less power to get anywhere and to fight, the wiles of the devil. And of course, they are the devil. Thank you, Larry. So again, that shows that they know the reality of the system. And again, that system being evil. Thank you, Larry. That's what they're doing. They're stalking people and taking them down, their life down. Again, not taking them down like the law enforcement term. That's why I got questions about the law enforcement term. Right? Is it a double use? And are they, knowingly, corruptly using those terms, like making somebody and then taking them down? Right? So they take their intrinsic power down, and they can't fight the wiles of the devil. And part of it is them willing the person to some sort of crime, to include sex crime and pedophilia. So again, children have been harmed because of what they do. They're not real, man. I mean, all I do is stay away from my life. I mean, how hard is that? Right. Poor man with no money. I mean, come on. Act like I'm going to take over the world or some shit. I mean, the stuff they're using was meant to be used against, major criminals, not against some poor guy who's disabled. That's the problem. But it looks like the major criminals ain't got nothing to worry about. They just grease the palm and they're doing okay. They just had to stay away. That was it. They couldn't do it. So you had the program they used against me is the program supposed to be used against them. If they can't stay away from a disabled man, then they need to be taken down and destroyed. That's where those things are supposed to be used. People in Kansas have lost loved ones because of these people. Your loved ones in jail because of them. Your loved one would never commit a crime. Really, back then, the Marshal Service was run by a bunch of alcoholics, man. Really. I agree. Man, how did you buy bar? Bunch of bar flies. Go on detail. Baxter buys a six pack every night. Goes back to the room. Believe me, if they hadn't protected some of the biggest marshals or deputy marshals, like inspectors and stuff, they'd have been destroyed too. Right? But they protected them. Right? They spanked the person effectuating the deep state hit. Right? The problem is, all these young clerks and stuff, their parents are part of the deep state. Right? Judges, clerks, and even like big agents. They come and play the game out. Did they get my Amazon here today? I mean, it's sad what they did, man. Y'all should have been sad the whole time they were doing it before, my life got to this point. Right. They would have never got to this point. Kind of weird. I got this whole big thing on here. Oh, I got the big battery. That's why. I got 71% charge on my phone. I got an audio device that I'm using. If something said to use it, I use it. But also showed me that using more of the device, that the stress tightens me up also. Trying to hook it up and all that. I knew what they were doing, man. Psychological operators of some sort. They have this like idea. It's almost like a Nazi idea that they're going to heaven because everybody else is Juden, essentially. Right. Again, like I said before, it's like an angel of doctrine or a doctrine of angels. Again, I say I'm an angel, but I'm not, putting myself over God. No, you just need to let me live my life for 20 years, and they couldn't do it, right? I mean, it's disgusting. They weren't protecting anybody. I already explained to you they cause people's minds to fail, and then they commit the crimes. That's their scam. Thanks, Larry. I mean, it makes no sense. I can't. You can't even see yourself aging. I'll tell you the truth, and with what they're doing, because you're so busy just trying to, like I told her today. I said you're so focused on not letting them cause you to do something that you shouldn't do. Like lose. And I explained to her the NVIXIM, whoever they are, the three psychological principles: obedience, depletion, and all that stuff. As in, you're so focused on not doing the wrong thing because they're depleting you, right? Thanks, Larry. That you have no focus for anything else. Thanks, Larry. Thank you. And she says, "Yeah." And I think she's real. I mean, who knows where it's going to go? But I really think she's a good person. Probably a libtard, but no, I needed to find people 5 years ago like that. I couldn't find anybody to do anything. I couldn't even get anywhere after a while, right? Yeah, if you wouldn't be there at a constant presence, abusing me and abusing your authority and all the other things, then it never would have happened. I'd have been somewhere, found the right person, and that would have been it. Right. So a nice pizza alternative where you don't have to use any garlic or anything like that. Just get yourself some mozzarella. Take one of those ready-made crust, brush it down with olive oil, heat it up, and then take your cheese, put it over top, or you could do it, I guess, together. Right. And that tastes pretty good. It boggles the mind, man. These people boggle the mind. The whole situation boggles the mind. Well, who would let that happen for 20 years? 20, actually, it was longer. It was 35 years. They were in the background in the beginning, and I had less knowledge of what was going on, and the damage wasn't as great. Right. Hmm. No, when I got to California, I got into pretty darn good shape, right? And everything was relaxing, and everything was well. And then, they don't let it be, right? They started hitting the place I was living in, trying to allege prostitution and crack cocaine. And at the most, I think they were smoking reefer. And come on, it's Venice Beach, right? Ah, thanks, Larry. They're trying to take it down, right? So I said, let me, and then I ended up with a parking ticket and then almost another ticket, and I said, "That's it." They cursed me. Right? Had a bike stolen. That's kind of normal for Venice. Right? But then they stole my yoga mat out of my truck that was locked. I just bought it. It was like $80, $90. Back then, that's a lot of money. Even a lot of money today, I guess. My God. They don't give a shit, man. They commit every crime in the book when they do that deep state crap. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. If you do it, you're deep state. Not here to play that game like all the politicians. Right. No, I mean, the level of their activity is CIA enforceable, but of course, some people, CIA are part of it, so they pay them and then they don't enforce it. Right. Now, I'll tell you what, I would change that parade to not fall on Trump's birthday. You're going to piss so many people off. Correct. Again, I'm just telling you, it's not a good idea. I don't know who's leading you into this stuff, but it's not going to fly. That's going to take your popularity down. Thank you, Larry. Make it any other day but that. I mean, yeah, Trump's president, and he, pro this, pro that. At least he says it, and but he's never been in the military. In fact, he had a waiver because he was trans. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I think all transgender people that come out of the military should apply for federal service. Apply for the FBI or something, whatever you qualify for. Right? Quit messing with my life, and I'll quit messing with yours. Right? But I don't mess with yours. I really don't. I took care of many of you. I didn't even I had to start going public about me helping the government because they were trying to insinuate the reverse. Right. I used to just send it in to CIA and let them deal with it. Right. Send it to whoever they thought needed to see it. Right. I figured that'd be a secure chain, right? Correct. I wished them well, thanked them for their service. Oh my God. Thanks, Larry. Yeah. But they wanted to play that game and try to kill me, right? I mean, even after they tried to kill me. Right. I mean, I just bygones be bygones. I'm out of the government. I got my retirement. Okay. Right. They couldn't stop themselves. No, there's things that were trickled down to agents and agencies that came from me. And they didn't say it came from me. Safety protocols, security protocols, battle plans, border technology. Meanwhile, they're all trying to kill me, right? I thought all of a sudden, but I guess you just accept the bullshit after a while, and that's the psychology of it. And I probably shouldn't have. I don't know what I could have done. I mean, they're all corrupt. Oh, and police department's corrupt. What are you going to do? Right. My therapist agreed with that. I hope you're not following her around. You only lending it's a different day and age than when I left the government. Right. Even when I was in Santa Fe, it's a different day and age. Right. Oh my God. You just lend credibility to it now. Back then they'd be like, "Well, this guy's a fool. Don't be hanging out with him." Right. No, I went to Naples, Florida, and again they brought some clown in that said he was a deputy marshal. I don't know who he was, but there were uniformed deputies that would come in and work out, And of course, I being in law enforcement, I was like a great guy for law enforcement officers. I always helped law enforcement officers my whole career and respected the street cop and all that. I'm not going to play that game like I'm a big martial investigator and the street cop has it easy or some shit. Like I told him, I said we generally pick and choose our the time and place. You get a little call on your radio and you gotta go 100 million miles an hour somewhere. I mean, every once in a while we do something like that, but right, right. Your first one on the scene is just you. That's what I used to tell the cops when I worked in marshal service. But they'd be like, "Oh, you a big marshal?" I'm like, bunch of clowns and jokers. I said, I can't even imagine being you, man. I mean, you're the first one on the scene. You know, you've been driving like 900 miles an hour. Just about hit the old lady pushing the stroller. And you're all frazzled. And they go, "Don't pull your gun." And like 50 kids are running at you, 50 men are running at you, 50 criminals are running at you. I said, "Well, there's no right to pull your gun." Or should you or shouldn't you? Right. That's why I left. That was the biggest one when I left. I know it took a few years for it to sink in. And I guess I just wanted them to stop. So I was going down to 9/11 at the airport. It was like, I mean, a month later or something like that. And this car was like on the highway, like it's that scam, like, "Oh, you cut me off or something, He's road raging me, and I hold my badge out the window because I had it around my neck. Now they had switched my car to the Volkswagen Beetle without lights and sirens instead of the Crown Vic at that point. So somebody set that up, right? So I couldn't light it up. And I kind of was at a certain point. I just tried to lose him, and I did at a certain point, and then he showed up again, which means somebody was GPSing me and was feeding them the information. Right. So I was like, if I get out of this vehicle and I shoot him, they're not going to stand behind me. If I get out of this vehicle, it could be another vehicle with the shooters in it, right? Or it could be like four people in that vehicle ready to draw down on me and kill me, right? So I just continued to try to lose him. And when I got to the airport, BWI, that's when he disappeared. I called Deputy Cottrell. He ran the plates. And I didn't pursue it anymore because I'm like, if I pursue it, you know, right, they'll just tell me I'm trying to do something screwy. Right. And that was, during like, I guess late November, early December or something or sometime in December, 2001. And what happened is I think I got on assignment a bunch. I got away from them. Right. That's what happened. I went on a bunch of assignments. I slimmed down, I think even more, and I made a bunch of money. Actually, I probably got on that assignments before 9/11 too. But I made some money, and I went to Virginia for a detail. So they had me go to New York on a detail, and then they said, "Well, the judge is going to fly, and we don't need you." But like I'm the only guy they send back. I already like bought my supplements for the detail because what I do is I go on the detail. I buy a bunch of supplements and just work out on my free time. Right, I need those supplements, protein bars and stuff. That was a setup of some sort. And that's why they're trying to break my bank. And they're the ones that mess this up. Mm. So again, the way they do it is if you do what they want, they let you up. It's like if I would date a gay man, they'd cut me up for a while, but then they'd want something else, right? So again, that's what they're actually out there doing. Oh, they're going to hell, believe me, big. Most people on the planet have a past, not these people. No way God will give them a pass. But again, if God decides to do it, then I'm okay with it. But I doubt it. I mean, every scripture points to the fact that most people are possessed by these people, and the church hasn't even woke up to the reality of it. I agree. Yeah, if they stay away, your life just picks up because there's a system that it has to reward me. Right? They just won't let because every place I went was a reward. Kind of okay. Here's your life. Right? I mean, I went to this before they got busy at the Sikhs. Right? I went there, and the one guy I was telling about Jesus, and he goes, We need somebody to write a real book about Jesus." Right? And maybe we get you to do that. And then, of course, all the real books came out. Rabbi Jesus and all that. Thank you, Larry. That's usually how it works. They steal my stuff. Well, I mean, if I'm talking to somebody about something and my phone's nearby, then they're listening. That's just how that works. And again, the kitchen sink, I'm working there. I'm sure it was bugged. I'm sure they're eavesdropping. Correct. Hmm. All I was trying to do is find a spiritual life and a wife. They make it up. Oh, she has kids, or her sister has kids, or her nephew has kids. I mean, it's kind of shit they try to pull day in and day out while they're trying to push you to it to make it true. And of course, if you keep pedophile, then they're going to will it too to get caught being a pedophile, right? People are just sick, man. I'm very sorry, Larry. I'm very sorry. Again, you willed it all, and it all breaks. And that's just the way it works. 100%. If they were forced to stay away from me after I got injured in Tyler, it would have just probably healed on its own almost, right? Because I'd have did something and it had been right, right? Believe me, they're watching their victims, and they have a lot of security cameras, and they will their victims to be sexual for anybody and everybody they're around. Believe me. 100%. Trying to use that they're using the $1 trillion federal power to try to force people to adulterated sexuality. That's what they're really doing, and they do it state and local also. 100%. Well, some are conservative. Believe me, it's not all about just making people gay for the sake of LGBTQ. It's kind of the reverse. Trying to put somebody in with that isn't in with that. No, they make everybody kind of swear off, associate with me. That's what they do. There's one woman, she introduces herself, and eventually she asked, she said she didn't say she needed help, but my kids spent all my money on my other daughter's birthday, whatever it was. I don't care. I didn't mind giving her money, right? But they made that so she would have no contact with me. 100%. Probably threatened to take her kids. Correct. Rat bastards. I don't even believe Massage Envy was involved. I believe it was just a local thing, and the cop had blocked my emails. Right? Yeah, I agree. Makes no sense at all. I agree. I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, yeah, you do something like that for 2, 3 years with somebody, ha ha, okay. But 35 years in increasing manner? I mean, come on. In fact, the nation sank to the lowest that it's ever been during those years. Who knows what they used? I mean, they got to be drugging me, right? Well, I'm gonna go look at this right now. I'm not gonna go offline, but I'm gonna go look at what I got going on my back so I can figure out where the tightness is. Because it actually doesn't feel tight, but I know it is because I can feel something not right. Right there. Now, all I know is, and I could tell this woman because I'll remember probably with her, is a massage therapist stayed in my scapula, my left scapula. And I mean, they would spend like a half hour on it at least, on a 2 hour massage. And there it is again. Yeah, right scapula's loose. Oh, there goes the left. Oh. 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 And now it feels a little more neutral. What it does, it just kills that whole left side when the scapula gets too tight. So there's still a chance that something might come around, but I don't know. Right. Yeah, I'm probably just going to have to build this arc, or I'm just going to go nuts with nothing to do. I got to build the fireplace. I didn't want to have to do it, but I got to get around to it. I got to pull the base in from the storage unit. I'll just lay it right in front of this. Now, the question is, do I want to keep the height lower at this point? I was going to raise it up. I don't know if you can hear me. I was going to keep it, I was going to put some width on the base, but that puts it up to like almost within a half inch of the ceiling. So I'm kind of, I see it just kind of switched microphones. I don't know how long that was like that. Yeah, it just did, I hope. I don't know if that was unplugged. Just boggles the mind. You do this kind of stuff to someone, especially someone like me who's just going to live a peaceful life. Right? I mean, I showed a lot of restraint, believe me. I know it sounded rough, but I showed a lot of restraint. People turned into like vicious shooters and shit off of what they're doing. Believe me, they created shooters just so they can come around and go, well, you need us. I mean, it's nuts. Every last one's a nutbag. Killing cops, with suicide just so they can fear the other cops into doing what they say. Right? That's a monster battery. That battery worked well. I have like a little housing one, which is pretty neat because when you plug it in, you click the button twice and it tells you what the wattage is. Which one did that too? Yeah, I got most of this stuff in my closet, in my walk-in closet. Most of the wood. I guess I could lay it down and just every day do one piece or something or a couple pieces. Just take it slow at first. Right. And the problem is, I was, in 1811. These people aren't supposed to be in my life. Right. They have no authority to be in my life. They're actually a risk to the federal government. It's right there. I don't know what that is. Yeah, the areas that are tight are getting smaller and smaller, but it's still a critical spot. Right. Well, because you got to get the blood into those muscles, and there wasn't blood going in those muscles for years. Can't believe it got broken down that bad. I couldn't get the massage. Right. What up? Yeah, yeah. Weather's pretty nice. I think the allergens are probably down a little. I'll have to take a look. At least it feels that way. Thank you, Larry. What are they trying to order for me?
Well, I got to figure this out. There's like an appointment next week I got to figure out. Oh, see where Amazon is. My brother called. They're saying it's going to get delivered today, but they used to update the delivery, but they're not doing that. This one's already out for delivery. What? 3 stops away. Hopefully he brings my other one. Right. Hopefully he's got both packages. Because he's early for my later delivery. But I think they said my earlier delivery was going to come at this time. Right. Thanks, Larry. Either way, I have 2 rush deliveries. This thing isn't out yet. Where'd he come from? He hasn't said. Your mom. So I got a pretty good deal on a guansha, I guess I call it. A gua sha. Right. Scraping. Right. I have 2 pieces to it. I mean, it's about the same price of one of the gua shas. That's the big one, too. That helps break down, she said, the muscle and lactate acid, trying to get rid of the lactate acid. Pakistan and India supposedly arrested a Pakistani F-16 pilot. We have a ceasefire, I guess. We're snoozing here. Where's he at? Two stops away. I sure hope they deliver that today. Right. Kind of important. See, if I can get this to release a little bit, I can go try physical therapy. I'm getting back my energy back a little bit. Right. I got physical therapy across the street. I just got to get my health up a little bit. Thanks, sir. Yeah, this Google like capture stuff is weird. I swear it doesn't work half the time. A lot of craziness going on in the world. Just see down here. What you got to do is you got to look at what everybody's doing and find out what these operations are and what they're really doing. Right. Again, there's a lot of private eyes that you license. You're actually responsible for what they do, even though traditionally you don't look at that. Right. Okay, cargo thieves. See, this is a problem. Right. Well, how long is that? All right, so it's a 6-month investigation. Thanks, Larry. And if inflation hits, then people look for cheaper stuff, right? Looking for a deal, right? Yeah, 26% increase in cargo theft from 2023 to 2024. Losses are $1 billion or more a year. Train cargo theft shot up about 40% in 2024. That alone, with more than 65,000 reported incidents. Okay. See if you can fix that. If you can fix that, that'll give you something. Give you a big plus. All right, let's see if my Amazon's here. I'd like to give you a good report that it's all here and the missing package arrived. That's what I'm waiting for. The X is getting weird again. Right. It's almost like it's getting like the opposite of what's that thing called? Blue Sky. Blue Sky is like totally bonkers liberal, and now you're going bonkers conservative again. It was that way before, and then it kind of went centrist, right? More so, or more centrist, right? Not completely, right? Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Where's my microphone anyway? Oh, I'm not using the microphone. That's right. Thanks, Larry. I just found it strange that India and Pakistan decided to war each other. I mean, I don't see them deciding for a long-term war. I mean, I was surprised that they even decided to war, right? On the next stop, how wonderful. Let's pull up that Ring camera. Before I do, I'm going to look at what the percentage is. It went up 1%. So, yeah, it probably got unplugged for a little while, right? Let's go look at the outdoor camera, see if he delivers it from this side. Oh, there he is. There he is on my other camera, or her. Thank you, Larry. Thanks, Larry. Yeah. Like a fail. Expecting the package. Nice and sealed. That's good. I got lubricating drops just in case I need those. So I'm gonna have to call Amazon. All right. Stay peaceful. Praise God and all.